How's it going, everyone? Back here with another quick video, and today we're going to be taking a bit of a preview look at Apple's newest software version for the iPhone. Now, the first notable change is nothing to do with the actual look of the software itself, and that has to do with the software's name. So Apple has now changed the name to iOS 26. And this carries across to all of the other platforms, again, such as macOS and watchOS. So everything now has version 26 as the numerical version. And this is to basically be in line with the year and to effectively simplify things. So with each subsequent year that passes by, each new software version will just reflect the current year. So iOS 26 is where we're at. So next thing is, if we go in here, you can actually right away now see the software has had a complete redesign. Obviously, you can see the clock is different, has a little bit of a glass look, and therefore that is the name of the new design. It is called Liquid Glass. That is a name that Apple has decided to call it. I'm not sure how I feel about that. It seems kind of goofy, but whatever. That is the name of this new design aesthetic. And then obviously straight away here on the home screen, you can immediately tell that things are definitely different. So all of the app icons have been redesigned and or tweaked in some way. Obviously they are still very, very familiar to what we've been used to. Basically, since the very, very first iPhone back in 2007, same exact concept. But the difference is all the icons have a different bit of paint, I guess you could say, to them. Some of the icon are the same, just a little bit tweaked. There are others that the icon is completely different, such as the camera. In previous versions, the camera icon was a little flat camera icon. So if I bring in over here iOS 18 on this device, as you can see, the camera icon on the top right corner of this on this phone has a little camera icon, I guess. This one has more of a lens, and that also carries over to the clock app. So obviously the clock app is completely different compared to that on the version 18. I'm going to go ahead and actually go into light mode real quick so we can kind of give a better idea of that. So yeah, the clock app on iOS 18 is totally different than that on version 26. And then all the rest of the icons more or less look the same. Obviously over here I have a bit of a theme applied to the phone, mail, and music icons. So that's just not relevant in this respect. But yeah, so basically all the icons are more or less the same, like photos, FaceTime messages, settings, things like that are pretty much the same. They just have a bit of a new coat of paint to them. And they also have a little bit of additional depth. So all the icons and UI elements pretty much have a little bit of a skeuomorphic aspect to it. Not 100% like we had in iOS 6, but there is a definite noticeable increase to the amount of depth on the icons, system buttons, and things like that. So that is a really nice thing to have. Because obviously over here on iOS 18, a lot of the icons appear way more flatter, and whereas on iOS 26, all the icons seem to have a raised feel to them, is the way I can kind of describe it. If we go into Control Center, this is where you're going to kind of see the first real look to the liquid glass aspect of the operating system or the UI elements. So straight away, we can obviously see the Control Center is exactly the same functionally how it was in iOS 18. It just, all of the little buttons and icons have this translucent glass look to them. So if we move around, you can see how the background kind of reflects through the different buttons. And it does surprisingly look almost identical to a very clear piece of glass that is bending light through it. So it's pretty neat actually to look at. Let's go to App Store. This is a good representation. So the tab bar down here is completely different visually. So you can see if I scroll, different colors and stuff kind of bend in behind that tab bar there at the bottom. It's kind of cool there. And then also it adapts automatically. So if you go over to something that's darker colored, the UI elements will also change according to that and lighten up the buttons and or icons in the middle to make it easier to see. So if I go back to the lighter color, you can see the icons turn black, kind of lightens up, go back to dark, the icons change white and things like that. So that's kind of a nifty thing. And then the look of it. So you can hit the search, it kind of expands out, turns into a little search bar. You can hit this and goes back to the tab view. And then if you want, you can also slide across all these buttons. And it also brings up this little floating bubble, which is really interesting to look at. So you can hold it, and it looks like a little water droplet. So you can slide that across and throw it over to one side if you want. You can throw it back to this side. Kind of cool. And they have also added a new icon customization. So if we go into the edit menu and go to customize, they've now added a clear option. So if we hit this, hit clear, go back, it changes every single icon on the home screen, including the widgets, into this now clear look, and pretty much turns every icon into more or less a piece of glass that is translucent and is reflective and shows the wallpaper shining directly through the icon. It's a neat effect. I'm not sure how much I'm going to actually use this because it is a little bit difficult to differentiate the different icons on the screen without actually reading their little tags down below. But it is a neat thing to look at. Folders also got changed. So you can see the folders also have that really translucent look to them. They project the color behind them really nicely. If we go into a folder, it again has that kind of glass border and look to it. So that is more or less the new design. We have that glass look throughout. So moving on here now, there's some Apple Intelligence features that have been improved. Can't show that particularly on this device because this is an older iPhone. This is a second generation iPhone SE, which I should note is supported on iOS 26. So all the devices that were supported via iOS 18 last year will be supported in this year's version, which is nice. So anyone that has an older iPhone and doesn't want to upgrade right now, you're going to still get the latest and greatest iOS version with this new redesign. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, so the new Apple Intelligence features enhance basically the image playground, so you can integrate now with ChatGPT and get a little bit more realistic images through that. Visual intelligence also has been improved to now be able to identify and describe what you have on your screen. So you can take a screenshot of something from, say, a web page and then ask either ChatGPT or do a quick Google search to get an answer to what it is you're looking at on your screen at that current point in time. So that is pretty cool. And there's a few other notable features, such as call screening, which basically filters out spam calls and will basically automatically answer the spam call or potential spam call, provide a transcript for said call, and then allow you to decide if you want to answer it or not, which is handy. And there's also the ability to have hold assist, which is basically the ability to recognize, or the phone will recognize when you're on hold, and then prompt you to tap a button that will allow you to basically go away from the call and then come back to it once the hold duration has ended. And so another few things, one of the big notable ones for me actually is the Photos app has been finally kind of semi-fixed. So if I go into the Photos app here, you can see it's basically the same as it was before. However, if we can take a look here, we now have this tab bar down at the bottom, whereas in iOS 18 over here, the library and the collections are basically all mashed into one page, and it gets really, really cluttered and messy, and it's buggy and glitchy. I have not liked the iOS 18 Photos app. For me, has been kind of garbage. I have not liked it at all. But with this new version, however, we now have library and the collection split up into two separate areas now. So we have a library tab and a collections tabs. And library tab basically functions exactly how it should. When you're in this view, all you get to see is your collection of photos, and that's it. It's not messy, it's not anything, it's just your photo library, and that is it. And then you have your filter options at the top, so you can filter it by recently added or date captured, depending on what you prefer. And then again, there is that kind of glass look to the buttons, and they kind of expand out in a pretty neat way. But then if we want to go to our collections, if you want to get to that, and that is where all of the albums, the recent deleted folder, things like that are housed. So you can now see all of that within here. And it is just basically a vertical scrolling list of all of these different areas. So you got utilities, memories, pinned albums, people and pets, featured photos, shared albums, recent days, trips, and media types. And you can also hit this to reorder all of those to your liking. The one thing, however, that you cannot do, and that I don't particularly like, is the fact that all of these areas or options that are contained within this collections menu are permanent. You cannot delete or remove any of these sections. So say, for example, people and pets, for myself, I don't ever use that. And so I would prefer to just delete it to clean up this collections area. However, you cannot do that, so that is permanently stuck there. The only thing you can do is collapse it using this little arrow, and it'll hide the options within it. But the area or the option for that stays. Another thing you can do to get rid of certain things that you don't want, as a minor workaround, is, so again, for that people and pets, if I really don't want it, what I'd have to do is grab it and throw it at the bottom of the list so it is less viewed. So when I go back, it's no longer kind of in the middle. It'll be down here at the very bottom. Yeah, anyway, that's just a little bit of a gripe. Maybe that might change by the final release, because this is only beta 1. So there's a lot that could potentially change by September. Anyway, so then we also have the search. So this has been enhanced as well. So the search bar, it lives basically permanently down here in the bottom right corner, and then it expands out when you go to tap on it. And it also has been enhanced in terms of the functionality. So it searches more accurately and can surface photos and or videos more readily than it could previously. Another thing involving design changes, or I'm going to loop back around to that, is the camera. So the camera app has now officially gotten basically an overhaul. It's pretty much been the exact same since iOS 7 was released back in 2013. Now the Photos app finally gets a different look. So it's basically cleaned up. So it's a way more cleaned up interface, less clutter. All of the same features are there. You just have to know now where to look. So the shutter button is more or less the same. Another thing that's big is photo and video are the two prominent options now. You still have access to all the other ones, but you have photo and video right there, straight away, easy to access. So you can just tap on either, go straight to video, straight back to photo, and it's quick and easy. You don't have to slide around and try to get to things. But if you do want to get to the other features, that is where you do actually have to slide. So you have to push your finger on it and slide over to get to the other options like slow-mo, time-lapse, portrait, and panorama. So you still have the sliding kind of ribbon bar there, but photo and video are the ones that are always going to be prominently visible. And then to get access to the other features within the camera app, you swipe up and it reveals all of the other controls such as flash, live photo, timer, things like that. And then you swipe down to dismiss it, and the same thing goes for video. So you swipe up, it gives you all of the video option and controls, swipe back down to dismiss it. And then in video, we have the resolution control now in the top left corner, and you tap that, it gives you an entire menu. Rather than having to cycle through all of the frame rates and the resolutions, you now have this full dedicated menu that you can get straight to the resolution and frame rate that you desire. So let's say I want to go to 4K at 24 frames per second. immediately can do that. Then we can go back to HD, tap it, and it'll dismiss it. So really, really handy. And there is one other last thing that I want to kind of check out here is there is 2 brand new apps that were added with this version. So the first one is a brand new games app. And basically what this app does is it essentially combines the Game Center and the Apple Arcade section within the App Store. So it combines both of those things into one single app. So I can't actually go into it, unfortunately, because I don't have an account attached to this phone. But when you go in there, you can check out your different games that you might be playing with your friends and compare scores and things like that. So kind of cool. I'm not sure how much I'm going to actually use that because I don't play games on my phone that often. But nonetheless, it is there, and you can also remove it and delete it if you don't want it. So if you are someone that does not play games, you do have the option to completely delete that app from your phone if you would choose to do so. But the biggest other thing here that I want to touch on is the new app of Preview. And basically, this is exactly the same preview app as what you'd come to find on macOS. And so essentially what this is as it is, it's a previewer. So exactly everything you can do with preview on the Mac, you can do in here. So you can view and then modify and edit PDF files. You can modify photos and things like that directly from within this app. Pretty much the app essentially relies on the Files app to function. So basically the Files app and the Preview app are heavily tied into one another. So the Preview app draws from Files app. So what you do is once you open the app, you're going to be prompted to locate a file on your phone via the Files app. So in this case, I have a photo, or a screenshot rather, and it allows you to open it, and you can mark it up. You can click this to basically crop it just the exact same as you could in the Preview app on Mac. Pretty cool, pretty handy. Again, that markup feature, you can draw on it and put a little line and whatever. And then you also have the info button. You can get all of the information about that particular file. If it's a document, PDF, photo, whatever, you can see all of the information with it for it there, which is neat. And then you have the ability to do some other options with the little menu up there. You can rotate, undo, redo, adjust size, rotate right, flip both horizontally and vertically, and then remove the background. So removing the background is also a feature that I think relies on Apple Intelligence. So I'm not entirely sure why it's here because this particular phone does not support Apple Intelligence. So we'll see how that ends up functioning later. But the thing that I like, that I found incredibly useful recently is, and it's really, really hidden. So right next to the image file name, there's a very, very tiny little arrow that is super hard to see. And if you click on that, it gives you some more options such as duplicate, move, rename, export, and print. And the notable one in here is the export option, because once you hit that, it gives you the ability to export that particular photo and convert it essentially into a different file format. So you can go to a HEIC, JPEG 2000, PDF, PNG, or TIFF. And then you have the ability to change the size as well. So if the file size is too big and you want to reduce it down for some reason, you can easily do that with this little slider bar, which is incredibly nice. I can't tell you the amount of countless times I have needed to reduce the size of a photo, whether I'm sending it via an email or it's a YouTube thumbnail or something, and I want to get the file size reduced for web use. You can now do that straight from here, which is so nice. So let's just, for example, change this file, which is a PNG. I'm going to go to a JPEG, hit done, and it's going to prompt you to say where you want to save it. I'm just going to put it into the preview folder, since that's a default one that it has. Hit the blue check mark. It's going to convert. And then just like that, I should now have a duplicated version of that file. So this one, again, if I go into it, hit the I, this one is a PNG file. Now if I go over here there is that duplicated file, and I go into it, hit the I again, it now converted it into a JPEG with the reduced file size as well of 321 kilobytes. So super nice, really, really, really handy, and I can see myself using this so much. Lastly here is the ability now to customize folders. This is a feature that is across the board on iOS, macOS, and iPadOS. And basically what that means is that you can press and hold on a folder and hit customize folder and tags. And what this will let you do is you can assign a tag, obviously like normal, but you can now add icons or emoji icons to the folder to allow you to better organize it for a particular project or something. And then you can also change the color, and a way to do that is to go into the tags and change it, let's say, to red. So we want to make the folder red. Go back. Now the folder is red. So pretty neat. You can go back, exit out, and there you go. Now that folder's red. It has that icon attached to it. So I don't want to make this video get too much longer. Those are basically the most notable changes within iOS 26. I will obviously be making update videos as more betas are released to keep you guys updated on the new features and changes in each subsequent beta version. Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this quick preview of iOS 26. So yeah, this is just the tip of the iceberg. So there's a lot more to talk about and a lot more to check out in the future. But anyway, hope you guys again have enjoyed this video. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. Both of those greatly helps out the channel. And if you guys have any questions or just want to conversate down below in the comment section, please do. And I'll see you guys in the next one.